Today we'll be looking at how we can work with JSON datasets in Elasticsearch. Okay, so let me go into my documentation. So this is the documentation that I'm going to refer for this video. So what is JSON dataset? So JSON dataset is basically a document which contains some set of documents in JSON format related to any particular field or any stream or any technology. Okay, so it basically consists of information in the form of JSON documents, which is called JSON datasets. Okay, so here we will be looking at how we can use that JSON dataset and index it in Elasticsearch. So basically we are not going to use any FileBit or Logstash, assuming like we don't know anything about the FileBit or Logstash, which are basically used for shipping the data into Elasticsearch. Okay, so let us forget like we have something like FileBit or Logstash in this environment. Okay, so I'm working on Fedora 37 with Docker and Docker Compose installed already. So if you don't know, like you can follow my previous articles or tutorials wherein we have installed Docker and Docker Compose and set up the Elasticsearch environment. So right now, as a first step, like we will be downloading the JSON dataset. Okay, so I'm using this JSON dataset, which is available on this is the public repository. So you can go into this awesome JSON datasets repository, wherein you will find a list of all the datasets which are available for you to use. So here, like I'm using the following dataset. So you can download this dataset locally. Okay, so let me go into my shell. So I have this JSON dataset already available downloaded. Okay, so you can just simply go into this URL, or like you can copy the link, go to shell and do download. Okay, so you can use this JSON dataset for this tutorial. So I have already downloaded. So as you can see, like I have downloaded using wget and it is available in my local machine. Okay, now coming to my next step, that is installing JQ. So JQ is basically a tool that is used widely to work with JSON datasets. Okay, so basically like if you have any JSON documents, you can use JQ tool to read that JSON document in a readable format, filter that JSON document to get some particular information from that datasets. Okay, so it can be used as a information gathering tool from the JSON document which we have. Okay, so as you can see, like it is basically a command line tool like JSON processor, which can be used to filter, slice and map and transform the JSON data. Okay, so this is very good tool that we can use. So I have already installed it using dnf install. So you can go into your shell and do this installation of this tool. So as you can see, it is already installed my machine. Now coming to our next step, step 3, that is inspecting the JSON data. Okay, so before like we go to indexing this JSON document, let us try to get some information related to this JSON dataset. Okay, so as I said, like we are going to use the JQ tool to read this JSON document. Okay, so I have used so as you can see, like I did a cat and piped that information into JQ. so it is converted into a readable format. Okay, so here you can see basically this is our array which prices and which consists of these JSON documents. Okay, so this is a complete one document in this array. So like this, there are multiple documents in it. So as you can see, this is another document, and so yeah, this complete set is one another document, and this one is another document. If you closely look at this information, like there is a year, there is a category, and there are laureates. Like laureates basically are the people who got this award, like Nobel Prize. So for every year, like for a particular category, there might be multiple people who are getting this award. Okay, so we have this laureate section, which is an array which consists of multiple people who are sharing this award. Okay, so as you can see, like this award is shared by 3 people. So we have information related to those people, like ID, first name, surname, motivation, and share. Okay, but another important thing that we need to notice here is, like, all the information that is available here is in string format, that is basically a text format. Okay, but if you see this text, like it is basically a number. Okay, like you can consider it as a date in which we have only year mentioned but nothing related to that specific date or month. Okay, and similarly, like we have this share, which is a number, and we have ID, which is also a number. Okay, so we will see how we can like index this data. Okay, these data means all the information, all the data JSON documents within this array, and see how we can map this correctly. Okay, so let us see first like how we can index it. So let us go into my documentation. So we have inspected the JSON document using the jQuery command line utility, and we have seen what is the information available in the JSON dataset. Okay, so now let us go into our next step, that is making sure the Docker service is up and running. Okay, so as I said, like I have already Docker installed on my machine. So if I check my Docker service, so it is already running. So currently running the following version of Docker 2010-23. Okay, so as I said, like I have already installed my Docker and it is up and running. Now let us go into our next step, that is step 5, that is ensuring the Elasticsearch and Kibana service cluster is up and running. Okay, so here I'm basically using the following Docker Compose file, which is available in the Elasticsearch documentation. Like if in the installation of Docker section, like here, like you get to set up a 3-node cluster basically. So as you can see, there is ES1. Okay, there is ES2, and there is ES03, and there is Kibana. So basically we have a 3-node Elasticsearch cluster with Kibana service, which is for visualization. So we are going to set up this cluster within our environment. Okay, so I'm going to do docker compose up -d. So this is going to start our Elasticsearch cluster and Kibana services. Let us give it some time. You can see my Elasticsearch services and Kibana services are up and running. So let us see docker ps. You can see like all the containers are in up and running state. Okay, similarly you can do check it using docker compose. Okay, so now let us go into our browser and try to access the Kibana service. So we can log in with the Elastic user. So I have already set my Elastic user password. So how I did it is, like, basically we need to go through the documentation. You can go through my article over here, which basically shows like how I have set up the Docker Compose file using a .env file, which consists of the passwords related to the Elastic user and the Kibana user. Okay, so if you want to see it quickly, like, I have this .env file which I am using, which set up the password for Elastic and Kibana services, along with the ports and licenses variables. Okay, so as you can see, now we are able to log in into our Kibana service, the Kibana portal. Let me go into my documentation again. Okay, so now we have seen, like, we have ensured Elasticsearch and Kibana services are up and running. So as we are able to log in and we see all the services are up and running. So we are done with this step. Okay, now the next part is, like, we need to have the CA certificate that is available in the containers to be copied locally, so that we can connect to the Elasticsearch service and send the API requests in a secured format. Okay, so for that we need to basically copy that certificate from any container. Okay, so we can go and run this command docker cp and connect to any container. So this is one of my container ES01, and we are going to copy this CA certificate from the following location within the container and copy it locally. Okay, so this is basically to use for any REST API call that we are going to do with Elasticsearch. Okay, so that the communication is on a secure channel. Okay, so now let us go into our next step, that is step 6, which is indexing document. Okay. And as I said, like, we are going to use the JSON dataset that we have downloaded, and we are going to index that using index that into Elasticsearch. But as I said, like, we are not using any FileBeat or Logstash for this video. We are just assuming, like, we have no knowledge about the FileBeat and Logstash, so we are going to use a simple Python script. This is index document, and which is going to send each document within that JSON dataset to Elasticsearch for indexing. Okay, so let me go into my shell and show you that script. So we are using the JSON module for working with the JSON documents, and we are using request so that we can send the curl request or API request using this module, and we are using sys to capture the variables. Okay, so here, as you can see, like, I have set some of the variables. So there is a URL that I have set, which basically is the REST API URL for indexing a document. Okay, and we have the CA file, we have headers, which is basically JSON content type, and accept text plain. Okay, and we have the username and password, which is used by the API request when we send it to Elasticsearch. Okay, and here, like, basically I'm opening the document and loading it, okay, into a JSON using the JSON module, so that it converts into a JSON dataset, like in dictionary format. And then, like, basically I'm trying to take the count of the number of documents that are available in the prices array. Okay, so that basically gives us the total number of documents or the JSON documents that are available in this data set. And then for each document, like, we are doing this doing this request, like basically the post request, wherein we are sending that data Okay, so this data, whatever index data we have, we are sending that using this post request to Elasticsearch. So we have passed in the authentication information, the header information, and we are verifying the request using the CA file, the certificate using the CA file, and finally, like, we are printing the status of the request that has been posted. Okay, and once all the requests have been posted, like, we are going to close this file. Okay, so now let us go and run this index document using the index name, that is prices. Okay, so now you can see, like, it is posting the request to Elasticsearch for indexing purpose. So as I said, like, there are around 663 documents in this JSON dataset. Okay, and this is the index name that we have created. Okay, so now let us go into our documentation. So as I said, like, we have indexed all the documents, and you can see the status also is 201, that is successful. Now let us go into the next step, that is step 7, validating the index. So for this, basically we need to go into our Kibana portal. Okay, so you can see select explore on my own, and here, like, we can go into stack management and scroll down, go into data views. Like, here we can click on data views, create data views. You can see, like, we have one index source available, which for which we can see the data. Okay, so let us copy that, prices, name, index pattern, also copy the same thing. Okay, timestamp, it is not highlighted, so we can ignore it. Save the data view to Kibana. Okay, so as you can see, like, this index has been created, and it has the following fields with the following type. Okay, so let us now try to explore what type of data has been indexed over here. Like, go into discover, and you can see, like, here, like, we have prices, that is our index pattern, and here these are all the documents that have been indexed. Okay, like, you can compact this, like, if you want, you can do single line so that all the documents are in single line. Okay, and now let us try to explore any one document over here. So as you can see, like, except for these three, like, which are specific to the index that has been created, okay, all these fields, like, which are available in the document, like JSON document, came as text field. Okay, so you see the number laureate ID came as text field, the year came as text field. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to tell you is, like, whenever Elasticsearch indexes document, by default it indexes based on the data that is available in the JSON documents. It tries to interpret the data, and based on that it will try to map a particular data type. But in our case, like, we have all the JSON fields with the string information, so that's why it has created all the text, like, basically text fields. Okay, but let us say like, we do not want to have these text fields for numbers. Okay, so let us say for year, like, we want to make sure, like, it is in the date format, and for the share and for the ID, like, we want to have it to be a integer. Okay, so that is where, like, we need to explicitly define the fields so that it maps those field values, then those fields to the correct data type. Okay, so that is something that we will be looking at in our next video. So for now, like, this is how like we will be able to like basically index the JSON dataset. We will be able to like look at the JSON dataset uses the jQuery tool and try to gather information. So this is how like we can index the document in index the JSON datasets in the Elasticsearch. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you all. Thanks for watching this video, and you guys have a great day.